Welcome to the Asian Supermarket. I'm your host Christina from America.
And I'm Carmen from Australia.
Welcome to this episode with our friend Fiona. Being someone who's experienced multiple career changes throughout her life, we took some time with Fiona to discuss the topics of ambition, career changes, and how we navigate parental expectations.
So grab your favorite treat and let's chill together as we have an intriguing conversation in episode 5.
Hi everyone, welcome to the 5th episode of Asian Supermarket with Christina and me, Carmen. So this week we have a guest all the way from Japan. Her name is Fiona.
So we're really happy to have her as our special guest today. She's currently in Japan. She was born and raised in Singapore, and she moved to Japan from 2019. She's currently working at the music label industry. And yeah, I'm just wondering, Carmen, how did you two meet?
So two of us were actually in a music production, or was it like composition course in 2017 together. She's been a good friend of mine from then on, and yeah, we just kept in touch, tried to see each other whenever I was back in Singapore, and she was there too. But now she's moved to Japan, haven't seen her for a while. So yeah, so we like to start our show in the theme of the Asian supermarket with a bit of a food related icebreaker. So Fiona, what's a food that you really miss from Singapore that you can't get in Japan?
Roti prata. I can't find it anywhere here that tastes the same as the ones in Singapore.
So they actually sell it there, but you just like it doesn't taste the same.
There are like Indian restaurants, but they just don't taste the same.
Yeah. Singapore is like really cool about that because it's such a multicultural country. There's so many different types of foods from different cultures. And actually, a fun fact about that is that the world's first and the cheapest Michelin star street food is actually found in Singapore. And it's at a hawker center, and it's actually like a $2 dish, which is Hong Kong soy sauce chicken rice. So if anyone's ever in Singapore and wants to check out good tasting meal for cheap, go to Fun Chicken Rice in Chinatown.
Fiona, I heard that you have a very interesting career life. You've done a lot of interesting careers. So I think it'd be really cool for our viewers to hear about it.
Before I came to Japan, I don't know, I lost count of how many jobs I've been in, but it ranged from like customer service all the way to teaching. I was in a kindergarten, nursery, and then of course I met Carmen. When I met Carmen in the music composition course, I was doing psychology as well. And then after that, I came to Japan and I started working on music. I'm in translation now. Apart from my music job, I'm doing translation. I'm also doing a bit of teaching. I'm teaching English to some of the children here.
Cool. What made you want to switch from like psychology to music?
Well, I initially studied music in university. So it was more of a switch from music to psychology because I wasn't confident that I could enjoy doing music as a career back then. So I wanted to explore other possibilities as well. So I decided, psychology sounds very interesting. I decided to study and then did a little bit of work related to psychology.
Oh,
yeah.
What was like the first job that you had outside of uni? Because you said you studied music in uni, right?
My first job after that was I was doing some kind of customer service work with a bank, Credit Suisse actually. Yeah.
And then I know you told me stories about how you used to work with Japan Air. Who's it? Japan Airlines?
Oh yeah, that's right. I was with the airlines for a while as well. I forgot about that.
No, like, cause that's how you like learn Japanese and stuff, right? Cause Fiona's actually fluent in Japanese. And then, like, why don't you talk a bit about that? Like, how you got into like Japan Airlines? Like, what was your job before that? Like, what made you bridge into that? Because it's so interesting. Like,
that actually made me learn Japanese. Actually, started very early. I was very interested in the Japanese culture, Japanese music, back when I was still in secondary school, which is I think high school. Or after I graduated from secondary school, I started taking lessons in Japanese for maybe about 2 to 3 years. And that was around the time when I was studying music as well. Before I got into the airlines, I think I was teaching in a kindergarten. So it was starting to get a little bit dry and repetitive. So the things that I do every day was the same, and I wanted a little bit of change. And it just so happens that I saw an advertisement, join as a crew. So I decided, why not? Let's just give this a try. If I get through, I'll get through. If I don't get through, then I'll find something else.
And then from there,
different jobs. I was wondering, do you have a favorite job? Is it your current job, or before you've had some jobs, you feel like it's your top?
I like what I'm doing currently
Yeah,
best.
that's what I was
So like I mentioned, I wasn't confident about making music a
thinking.
career, but now that I am, it's actually really fun, and I really regretted not starting earlier.
So it's like not planning on changing anytime soon.
Yeah, I'm still doing translation and teaching. I like all of what I'm doing right now. It keeps me busy, keeps me entertained at least.
Okay, let's talk about like parents. Like, how did your parents feel when you were changing careers all the time? Were they like,
Oh, so I live with my mom. My parents separated, so I grew up with my mom, and she was always constantly nagging at me because she felt that I wasn't stable. I think
yeah,
it's an Asian thing, when
yeah,
when they see someone changing jobs constantly, they think that, oh, this person, she can't keep a job for long. She's
yeah,
not stable. She's not doing a good job. She doesn't have she doesn't have a life together. She
yeah.
was constantly, like every time I tell her, oh, I'm thinking of changing jobs, or if I tell her, I quit my job, and she'll be
Yeah.
like, again.
So you did like feel the pressure to just
Yeah,
like okay, like I
yeah.
need to
So I
keep
get
it.
that a lot. Like she'll be like, again, what are you doing? Then when I tell her like, oh, it's actually I'm gonna be doing something completely different. She's like, so what are you planning to do? Like with this with your next job? Are you planning to stay for long? And I look at her like, I don't stay long in a job.
Yeah, no, because like with the jobs that you were describing, like you were in childcare, then psychology and stuff, those aren't jobs that you can just like start immediately, right? Like you have to do
Yeah.
study or like previous like
A lot of
training
studying to do.
and before you can get into those roles, right? So like was it hard for you to like make the decision to just change into those roles? Because you don't like you can't, as I said, you can't start the job immediately. So there's definitely a period of time where you have to like invest time, money maybe
Yeah.
to like, get the skills or the qualification.
It wasn't really hard per se because to me it was a necessary change, and it was something that at that point in time I was interested in learning. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I didn't really mind investing the time to get a bit of knowledge or to start something new.
For your current job, for those that are interested in the music industry, is there any tips you can give them, or do they necessarily have to take the music course, or you feel like with self-study, with life experience,
Or is it
get
more like connections?
yeah.
Yeah, I think connections play a big part. A course isn't necessary, I would say, but it's good to have. It's good to have because you get to learn from the people who are already in the industry, and they can actually give you a lot of insight to what the industry now before you jump into it, before you decide whether you really want to do it or not. So it's good to hear from people. Knowledge wise, it's more of trial and error really, because even in the course itself, learning based on what you do at that point in time, even without the course, you can actually still learn and still kind of try out new things.
I guess like
Yeah.
if your will is big enough, right, you will wanna, you wanna put in the time and the effort to learn those skills. Whereas, if maybe people who don't have that kind of self-discipline, is better to do a course, right, where they can like be
Right.
pushed,
Yeah. Yeah.
spoon fed all
Yeah.
the
I
information
mean,
and
yeah, it doesn't even have to take long. You could just spend like maybe 40 minutes to an hour, sit down in front of the computer.
Is there someone where we can hear your work,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
who you've been involved with?
Not really. Not recently. I haven't been doing much stuff. I haven't been uploading my stuff online as well, so I don't really know where you can find it.
Yeah.
It used to be on YouTube, but I'm not really active there anymore. So
But like,
yeah.
what can is it like? It's not. I guess it's not like private information, but like, do you mind telling us like what like the company that you work with, like maybe the people that you worked with, and like what part of like what, because music is such a huge thing, like what part of the music actually do you work on? Like, what are you in charge of, and like,
Uh, so I'm working. Usually I am working with. I'm doing more of the recording stuff right now. So I do
yeah,
more of the studio setup, recording. Sometimes I do the mixing and mastering, but that's not often. So usually I work with artists, and I help them with the recording, and I direct them on how to actually sing certain parts and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm
oh,
not sure if I can mention their names because I don't have the permission, so I
yeah,
won't
yeah,
say I wouldn't say who. Yeah,
that's fair
yeah,
enough. But
but
like music that you've helped people record is like released, right? There's quite a lot of it, I guess. Is
yeah,
it?
quite a lot. Yeah.
Do you have any like advice, I guess, for people who are like struggling with their work and maybe they do have like that pressure from their parents to, not change jobs, but they kind of want to, like, what do you suggest? Like, just go for it. Like, don't worry about your parents.
Worry because it's the culture that we grew up in, right? It's normal for our parents to worry. It might even be normal because sometimes when I am changing jobs myself, I feel insecure.
Mm,
And I really do this, would I be wasting my time? Because, you know, like Carmen mentioned, some jobs take like 3 months to 6 months to
mm,
study and to learn. But if I realize that after this this learning phase, I don't want to go into the job, then I would have wasted the entire time, right? So
yeah.
there is a little bit of worry and fear, I guess. But because of the kind of person I am, I don't really think too much about it. I just go ahead with it and I'll explain it to my mom later. I always think I'll do the explaining later. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I'm quite lucky in a way because my mom, even though she nags a lot, she doesn't try to stop me. Other people, they may face that kind of pressure where their parents go and say like you need to stay in a company for at least 5 years, 10 years, that kind of thing. For people like that, do give some consideration. But if, of course, if the job is wearing you out, if you're waking up every day dreading to go to work, then really just stop. Just
Yeah.
stop. It's not doing you any good, right? So, but before that, before you actually leave the job, it's best to have like a backup plan.
Mhm.
Mm,
Maybe, before you leave, have another job lined up.
Mm.
Maybe that might give your parents form
like,
of security.
Mhm.
Yeah,
yeah.
they may feel a little bit better about it. They may feel like, okay, at least you're not going to be jobless for like the next 2 or 3 months, considering the current situation right now with COVID and all.
Mhm. Like, how are you guys handle it during the COVID? I don't know how it is like in Japan right now, but do you guys still meet up in person to do all that, or is it more virtual now?
We try to do everything virtually as much as we can. So things like, if we don't have to go into the studios for recording, we usually stay at home. We have meetings at home. We plan our schedules and all. And then I only go out when it's needed, when I'm needed in the studio itself. Yeah, I have some equipment here, so I can even do mixing. Yeah, but recording, of course, I can't do it here because I need to be in the studio to set up the stuff to meet the artists. I have to go out for that. So it's about 3 to 4 times a week. I mean,
Um,
for translation work that I'm doing, I can stay at home to do it as well. But for
right.
teaching, I can't. I have to go out to the classroom as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
They actually have classes still in person right now in Japan.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
we do. Mm.
Because she's not in like Tokyo, I think like the outbreaks and stuff have mostly been in Tokyo, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I was actually in Saitama, which is quite near to Tokyo, and Saitama's situation was quite bad as well. I'm not sure about now, but when I was there, they were averaging like over 200 to 300 cases a day.
mm.
Wow.
Yeah, but where I am now, I'm only getting like maybe 5 to 20 cases or
Mhm.
so.
Oh. So I'm just wondering, do you feel like there's much difference between the Japanese culture and like Singaporean Chinese culture?
Where I am right now is actually quite similar to Singapore in
Uh-huh.
terms of the people, the way they talk, the way they treat other people as well. So it's quite easy to live here. Yeah,
Mhm.
Because Japanese people are so polite, like they're
yeah,
so
they
kind.
are. They're
But
nice. They're nice.
uh-huh. Like, do you feel like
Yeah.
you need to be able to speak Japanese to really fit there,
Oh,
or
you do though. You do. You do.
uh-huh.
Yeah, it gets hard when you don't understand at least basic, very basic conversational Japanese because the Japanese people, they don't use English much. They study English in school, but they don't use it, so they tend to forget and they get scared of speaking English. So I mean, I still look like an Asian, so sometimes they mistake me for a Japanese, a Westerner,
Mm,
with blonde hair and all. They get scared of them,
mm,
and especially if that person goes and approach them to ask them for something, they don't know how to respond to you, and it's actually quite funny to see sometimes the way they react. Like they really just stare like wide eyed at you, like, oh no, what should I do? How should I speak to this person? But yes, so you need some form of
mhm.
Japanese.
It's crazy. Like when I was in Japan, I would be like, oh, like I need help, but I can't speak Japanese. Like I only know a few words, right? And I would be speaking in like very slow English. But
Mhm.
then when I said like one Japanese word, they would be like, whoa, and then they would start speaking in all Japanese and like not even trying to like dumb it down for me, and I'll be like, no, like I only have 2 words, can you please just like slow down? Like
Get it? Because like I said, they just I think they do know they do understand English. A lot of them understand what you're trying to say. It's just that they can't communicate with you.
yeah.
They don't know how to express themselves on English.
And as like a insider in Japan right now, since you've been there for a while, for those traveling, and if there's like, one thing that you would recommend doing or seeing, what would it be?
Yeah, or like an area that you think is like underrated, you know.
It's an area that is quite far up north.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a place in Aomori called Osorezan. Uh, it's literally translates to like Terror Mountain. I actually went to the place because I saw it in an anime that I really like. Uh, it's in Shaman Kings, quite near to Hokkaido. I think you can actually take a ship. You can go by sea to Hokkaido from there, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's actually ranked one of the most one of the three most sacred places in Japan. Yeah, it's translated as Terror Mountain. It has very beautiful landscape. It's very mountainous. The water is really blue and very clear, very nice. Yeah, and you can actually stay in the temple if I'm not mistaken.
Oh.
The temple provides lodging for a night or two, so you get to actually experience how it feels like to be kind of like a Buddhist monk.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a very nice place. So I've been there like three or four times. It's really hard to assess because you have to take a domestic plane to one of the smaller airports. Yeah, then you have to travel like 3 to 4 hours by train,
You have to
and
fly
then
there and then take a train.
Oh.
yeah, to get to that area to that. I think
Yeah.
it's a very small city,
Mhm.
and the bus to the mountain itself comes like once every half a day or so. There are only like two or three buses in each
Oh,
day, so you have to
So it must be
you have to catch
worth
it.
it then, since you would go through all that trouble to get there, right? Yeah.
It does, yeah.
so
And it's
I guess this won't be like a day trip kind of thing then.
you have to spend at least 2 days. I mean, there's nothing in the city that you have to stay in to get to
Mhm.
the mountain, but basically the mountain itself is, you know, the highlight.
Mhm.
So yeah, so you go there, maybe you stay there for a night. The next day you take the bus up, and then half a day later you take the bus back down, kind of.
So
Yeah,
it's
and
like
then
a
you
mountain,
can.
is it? So you go for like a hike and then there's like a temple, is
Yeah,
it?
yeah, you can do it. Yes, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I guess
Sounds
that's where we're going next, right, Carmen? On our
on a
international travels.
yeah, world tour. Asian supermarket.
It's a very quiet place because I think not even the Japanese go there much.
Oh,
But it's
wow.
very nice there. Yeah.
I guess because it's like it sounds pretty like inaccessible, right? And Japanese people always seem so busy, so it's like you have to actually block out a few days to go.
Yeah.
I'm curious. You said that both of you were in Singapore, right? Is there any Singaporean slang, because I haven't heard?
Do you know like do you have any Singaporean friends, Christina, that like talk like Singlish to you, like speak in
Oh.
Singlish?
It's called Singlish?
Yeah, so it's like the Singaporean English, I guess, is called Singlish, and I think it's like a combination because there's so many different cultures in Singapore. Right? We have like I think the majority of us are Chinese people. We also have a lot of Malay people, a lot of Indian people, and I think those are like the main three cultures.
I think there's some Eurasians as well.
Yeah, so our language is a lot of like our Singlish language is like it's like English, but it's very I would say it's a very efficient way to speak English.
Well,
And then it has a lot of like Malay words mixed in, a lot of Chinese
Yeah.
words mixed in, and then like it's I don't know if people know, but it's very famous for us like ending sentences in like la,
La.
law,
Yeah.
Lol?
law, like LOR.
Lalo.
Oh.
Yeah.
I guess it's like actually like I was thinking about it, and it's like it's pretty. I think it's pretty much derived from like Chinese, like either Mandarin or like Cantonese. Like
Yeah. Yeah. The dialects, I think.
yeah, like a lot of dialects derived from a lot of
Mm.
dialects in a
Yeah.
lot of Chinese dialects. So like we say like cannot la. It's like I guess it's like a translation from like Mandarin, right? When you say 不可以啦, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like we just take the la from that, but the cannot we just directly translate it, and then we just add the la back in for spiciness. I don't know. And then like yeah,
It's a very kind of like rojak language. You just kind of mash everything together. Sometimes you get Malay words
yeah,
mixed with English, and then you add like the la, the laws at the back, and then it becomes like I don't even know. Yeah.
yeah. But I think it's not hard to pick up. Like you can kind of understand. Like when you were in Singapore with me, right, Christina, you didn't have trouble understanding people, did you?
I used to hawker to order food. I'm like, I
Yeah.
had to struggle. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I took her to a hawker center, Fiona, so she was there. Actually, she was there when I was doing the music course. So she
Oh.
Okay.
was over. Yeah, so when I was doing that course, it was 2017.
Yeah.
Doing the music. Actually, I think I like skipped class that day to hang out with you.
Hey.
No, because she was there just for a stopover, right? Because I think where were you going? You were going
We were
from
running like place to place, and we went up to what's that place called? The ship.
the Marina Bay Sands.
Marina Bay Sands.
Yeah. We only had a few hours, so I was like, oh, like I'll skip class and I'll come bring you around. And then we went to the hawker center. She was going crazy because she loves food.
Yeah. And then I'm so sad. There's a charcoal egg tart where it's like a black charcoal thing. And then because I ate too much, so I was full. And then I was like, okay, I'll bring this for later on. And I forgot it at the table. So I never got to eat it. Like I still remember today because I was so sad about it. Cool. All right, then. Should we wrap it up then?
Yeah, no, thank you so much for talking to us, Fiona.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Really nice to about your career journeys. Hopefully, our viewers will get some inspirations from you. And yeah, stay tuned, everybody, for episode 6. We're going to have a guest speaker who was born in Korea, lived in the US, studied in Germany, and she's finally back in Korea working in the German embassy. So stay tuned for our next episode. And once again, thank you so much, Fiona, for joining us today.